Breaking news coming from the courtroom there. Disgraced Hollywood movie producer Harvey Weinstein has just been sentenced after his sexual assault conviction. We've got a live look for you at the Manhattan courthouse. 23 years is what he got. Here is prosecutor Cyrus Vance on the steps of that courtroom. Here's his reaction.
Any potential offender is going to have to consider. The judge obviously took it seriously, which is exactly how we think he should have been with rape.
Thanks, guys. Rosie, how you feeling? What do you think? How do you feel, Rosie? How do you feel? How do you feel, Jessica? Tell us.
All right, so we heard from Cyrus Vance speaking to reporters, not really saying much there, but 23 years of a prison sentence for Harvey Weinstein, and some of the victims following there, they were obviously jubilated that he got 23 years for sexual assault and for that conviction. We've got CBC's Eli Glasner right here in studio. You've been tracking this story. There's been so much interest, so much reaction to the court case itself. Now there's a sentence.
Yeah, that's a big sentence. I think bigger than some would have imagined. I'm sure that'll be welcome for many of his accusers. We saw many of the women who spoke out in court, women who were there to show their support. They were there this morning as Jessica Mann and Miriam Haley, the main witnesses against Harvey Weinstein, told their story again and actually talked about how he had damaged their life, ruined their confidence, and really talking about, I think it was actually Jessica Mann saying that rape is forever. This is not just one act. This is something that stays with you. So they were there in court this morning giving their victim impact statement, but it was also the first time we heard from the now guilty and looking at a 23-year prison sentence, former Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein, who spoke for the first time. He hasn't spoken before then. He has let his people, his representatives, speak for him, and he said this in court today. He expressed deep remorse. So, important there. Didn't apologize, but expressed deep remorse. He also said this interesting thing that I think speaks to the Me Too movement. I am totally confused, he said. I think men are confused about all of this feeling of thousands of men and women who are losing due process. I'm worried about this country, he said. He also mentioned during his statement before the judge that he had serious friendships with the two primary accusers in the case. Now, it's interesting. His defenders had asked for a minimum sentence. They were asking for 5 years. They're saying the typical sentence in a case like this for the top crime is about 8.5 years, so certainly not the 23 years that he got. They mentioned, the charities that he gives to. They mentioned that essentially his reputation has been ruined, that he can't go out in public, that he's become a pariah of sorts. But very strong statements also from the prosecutors saying that, he has shown, and you look at the over 90 accusations from women, a range of accusations, that he had a pattern of this, that if these women hadn't found the courage to come forward and speak, Harvey Weinstein would have gone on to do this again and again. And so, given that range of 5 to possible 29 years, I mean, that is a heavy sentence. That sends a signal. And again, this is another major moment for the Me Too movement and the idea that, women found the courage to step forward and tell their story. And we've seen these stories before, but here, the system listened, and he was found guilty, and now a very serious sentence for producer Harvey Weinstein.
There was some speculation that perhaps it could take all day for this sentence to come out, that there would be, back and forth, et cetera. As you say, the distance between the minimum and the maximum of 5 to 29 years is huge. This came out very quickly. So what happens now? What
happens now is he will be ingested into the prison system. He has been staying at Rikers up until now. There's a formula for this. He will get the shave and the haircut, the delousing. He will receive an intimate handbook. He will watch an orientation video. He will learn information. And of course, there is some irony here about avoiding sexual abuse in prison. There's been a lot of talk about, because he is a person of interest and because he is somewhat of a celebrity, the institutions are going to have to be very careful in terms of how they house him, because he could be seen actually as a target in the prison system. He has actually been using a gentleman named Craig Rothfeld, who is a prison consultant. And so this person has been working with Weinstein's team to, I imagine, tell him how to prepare and what comes next. Part of what comes next and part of what becomes reality now, he is now a sex offender. He'll be officially registered as a sex offender. That will not change, but another change that he is looking, he can look ahead to is what's happening in LA. There is another trial in the works, a second trial waiting in the wings, 4 criminal charges, including a rape and sexual battery, and this revolves around incidents happening around the 2013 Oscars.